Welcome, Victor, to this month's Club Apple. So today, I'd like to dive into CES, which you were at, and then watches, because as we discussed last month, you're actually really into those. So, how's it going?
I'm fantastic, but first I have to ask you, this Club Apple, is it an exclusive membership?
It's fairly open membership, as long as you like
Oh,
Apple
wow.
stuff, you know,
Hmm.
you know.
Don't know if I can be a member.
We kick out all the people that are mean to other people and stuff, the trolls,
Right.
but yeah.
So, there were many smartwatches at CES.
And I got
I
one that
paid
was announced at
attention.
CES, which is really exciting.
You did. You got the Withings Activité Pop.
Yes, I was very very happy that CES had like stuff that was shipping, which is rare.
It is rare. CES is a weird and wonderful collection of things that sometimes ship, things that may never ship, and things that are on sale on the sales floor that probably ought not to be.
Like the $30 Apple Watch.
27 if you're counting.
Oh, okay. You did not get. I have a chance to get one of those though.
I was unable to get one of those because I was racing between booths. I was also checking out a lot of the things in the car audio world because that's a
Yeah.
big thing, as we discussed last month, and I was discussing and checking out many of the connected home products.
Very cool. Now, how many years is this for you on CES?
This is 4 or 5.
Okay.
What three stacks of Liberty stand?
I can edit this out in
This-
the audio version.
Yeah, this is your 4 or 5 for me, and I can't quite keep track. CES will do that to you.
Yes.
Um,
Because 5 would be, you went right after Apple pulled out, I think in 2010.
well, Apple didn't participate in CES, to my recollection.
I mean,
Apple always ran their own show.
I mean, Macworld is what I meant. Or
Right.
when Macworld moved dates where they didn't coincide anymore. I forget what
I
year that would be.
thought it was CES moved dates, so it didn't coincide anymore, because CES was the one that suffered when everyone left to go down and see what was going on at Macworld.
Interesting.
Right? They were both
Yeah.
at the same times. I was at Macworld, and all of a sudden there was this huge influx of people who'd come in from Las Vegas because they had to see the iPhone.
Right, right.
It was so
And you
spectacular.
could drive. It'd be a long drive.
No
Probably
one
fly.
does that. You fly. You catch the hour flight,
Yeah.
and you make.
There you go.
And no one could get flights because it was so packed. But I was there when they announced the iPhone.
I was on the video stream, so.
I was at the show and I was manning a booth, and it was the one time I did not have keynote seats.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But
So CES this year.
well, let me take you, if
Yeah.
I can, through the history of smartwatches that I have before me, because I
Sure.
have a wide range. So I'm going to start with a
'Cause-
non-smartwatch.
Because there are like there's a range, like there's like iPhone, and then there's like BlackBerry version. Like as far as how smartphones got, similar things have happened with watches.
Yeah, right. If you remember that keynote in 2007, there was the Palm Trio. There was the BlackBerry. There was the Nokia, and there was some other horrible smartphone. There were 3 or
Sure.
4 that were up there, and the point was that many of these things, even though they were all different and worked differently, all had some things in common that were all in common terrible.
Yeah.
Now, no one's
Watch-
saying that traditional watches are terrible, right? I'm going to
difference-
hold up a
right.
traditional watch here, and here's a perfectly good traditional watch, which works
And
fantastically
no one was saying
for the thing it's
traditional-
meant to do.
Right, and no one was saying traditional phones were bad. Just like,
Well, they were.
well, yeah, yeah. I guess you could make the case they were.
They were.
The difference I think with watches is that watches, you could still have like this, which looks like a normal watch, that does a little bit more, and that's okay because that's not trying to be a really fancy do all you can computer on your wrist. And you might want more than one kind of smartwatch in your life.
Well, I don't imagine many people will, although that is the contention of one smartwatch maker.
Because I can see myself wearing this for fancier occasions with a nice leather band, and the Apple Watch maybe would be as appropriate. I don't know.
Well, so this is a watch by a company called Meta. They were formerly called Meta Watch, but they've renamed themselves Meta, and this is their M1 product. And it has a really heavy steel bracelet. It has articulated lugs here.
What is that thing on the bottom?
That's the charging plate. It's magnetic.
Okay, you don't wear that when you're...
It pops right off.
Okay.
And so this is the Meta Watch. It has, like I said, articulated lugs. And it is intended to be the smartwatch that you wear for 23 hours of the day.
Because it has a long battery?
No, because it's elegant, and that's its intention. Their thing is, you don't need a hardcore fitness watch to wear all the time, right? This is a Magellan Echo, and you can see it's got a display on it and 4 buttons and everything. And you don't need to wear this sport thing all the time. Hold on. Pause for a second. Maya, honey, I'm on the phone. Can you please be quiet?
Why would I go upstairs and more about the stand before they're leaving?
Everyone's leaving the house for a moment, except for one daughter. Maya, please don't play with the ball, honey. Smacking the ball is loud noise. Very good. So,
I'll edit.
So their idea. Thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. So originally, their idea, Meta's idea, was that this was the watch that you should wear for most of the time of your day, and that when you're exercising, you wear one of these.
Oh, I
And that was
see.
their original intention.
So you're only exercising one
But
day. Okay.
But they've changed that position slightly because they have at CES announced a partnership with the company called Misfit, who makes such fine exercise bands as the Misfit Shine, which I'm wearing.
Okay.
And what they've done is they've partnered and borrowed the algorithm over so that this thing now is every bit as good an activity monitor as the Misfit Shine.
But I'd argue its form factor would not be good in the gym or elsewhere.
It's a little heavy. I mean, it's shiny. It would totally work. It's rugged, but it's a little heavy. Yeah. Now, they're not the first people to do that kind of stunt. You know, our old beloved Pebble.
Oh yes.
Were among ones to do that too. But the nice thing about Meta is that well, this one is not waterproof, but if they were to make it such, then you could go ahead and swim, and Pebbles, rather Misfits, Misfits algorithm would totally recognize swimming, and you'd be good for that. Now, you know, as I'm going through the collection here, I should also point out that that's not the only Pebble that I've got on hand, for I also have the Pebble Steel. Now, there's a quality difference here.
It looks better in person. I mean, yeah.
No.
It does, I guess, a little bit.
No, really. The Pebble Steel, the charging thing on it's all right, although it uses a different charging cable than the initial Pebble, which is frustrating. And as I feel the screen here, where the screen and bezel are, right at this edge here where the screen meets the metal bezel, it's a gross edge. There's a whole difference in the height surface, and it feels nasty. It's really
so you
quite...
like the original Pebble better?
The original Pebble was better executed. It is honest about what it is. It's a plastic, sport-looking kind of watch. The Pebble Steel tries to be something that it doesn't achieve.
Right.
I am
it's trying to be more elegant.
Sincerely picky about it. It's trying to be more elegant, but come on. They used a folded steel bracelet, which hasn't been used in serious watches since the 60s or 70s, although Tudor wristwatches used folded links in the 80s and maybe, late 80s. Everyone went to solid bracelets or bracelets that were not folded link. It's kind of garbage looking.
And at least the original Pebble was like, I'm a black Pebble, like a stone.
Meta used solid links here. You can see if you look at the sides of them that the links are totally solid. And it's really, it's good quality.
Yeah.
You know, you may not like the look, but they did everything right about it. The feel and fit and finish of the finger edge to the screen bezel is really slick. It's perfect. The I don't like the feel of the pusher as they engraved the Meta logo on the side of the pusher there.
Now, is that running in Android?
No, it's their own. It's their own.
Okay.
Now, I do have an old Android watch. This is one of the very earliest Android watches, and this is from Italy. This is an IM watch, and it runs gingerbread.
Looks like a Pebble almost.
Well, but it predates Pebble. This is an IM watch designed in Italy. It runs Android, a variant of gingerbread, 2.2 something, 2.3 something.
So not Android Wear.
Oh, heck no. You kidding? This thing could not run Android Wear. It'd burn up in a fireball. There's no way. Battery lasts about a day. It uses their own iCloud services. You have to give them your email address and give them your email password, and then they pass email over to you. It's really quite bizarre. It didn't succeed nearly as well as they hoped it would.
Is that their first product?
Yes. They had one other product that I don't even know ever shipped. They are still sort of around. That thing was supposed to be a $400 product, and it's hard to imagine the depths of disappointment that I would have felt had I paid $400 for that.
Yeah.
But smartwatches, we talk about them, and we talk about what we're trying to accomplish. And the IM watch tried to accomplish all of the things that we think about as a modern watch, right? It wanted to be hands-free. You could Dick Tracy to it and talk into your wrist. It would do your Twitter. It would do your time zones. It would do everything. It had a full-color display, touchscreen on it. So they packed some serious hardware into it, but it's just kind of nasty.
It's like a half-an-inch cell phone.
Without the cell phone. It's got the Bluetooth in it. It's more like a half-an-inch tablet.
Wonderful. Yeah. I mean, that could work if the interface is designed elegantly.
Well, and in some ways, that's kind of what an Apple Watch is when it's doing the remote display functions from the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
In some ways. But execution matters so much. Now, I want to share this with you. This is a cheap promo product that's been branded Okie Dokies, because what they've done is they've taken this cheap promo watch, although it's got a lovely silicone band on it. I mean, it's a very comfortable band, despite the color. What they've done is they've put an RFID inside the back of the case, and so when you walk up to their Okie Dokies door locks, you can put your watch up against the door, and it will unlock the door. That's what I've been doing about
the Apple Watch. I got the Lockatron. I really want. It's a Bluetooth Lockatron. Or not Lockatron. I've got this August smart lock. Sorry.
Okay, I've had Lockatron. I have August, and I have yet to install August.
Yeah, probably August. Yeah.
My concern with all of these is their vague understanding of proximity and their power requirements and the way that they sleep to conserve power. With my door lock, I'm using an old push button lock.
Yeah.
It's not a mechanical push button, it's an electrical push button, but I get a year and a half out of battery on it, and I can push the buttons on the keypad when my hands are full. If I have to fumble for my phone or do something else, it's fail. Now, if I've got the watch, that can be fine, but that means everyone who needs to come into my house also has to have a watch, and that's absurd.
Right. Me as a single guy, it's geolocated, so when I pull into the parking lot, it'll auto unlock and then auto.
Yeah.
It also auto locks if you, for whatever reason, have a false detection. So after like 2 minutes, it'll lock automatically behind you.
Right, and some of that's good, but I just fear that it's not perfected.
Yeah.
That there are flaws.
I'm in a part of the world where it wouldn't be a huge deal if it accidentally was unlocked for a little bit.
Okay. Well, I have high standards. These things must be right. They must function. They must not let me down.
Agreed.
Okay.
So
let's move to another form of watch. Okay. Oh, before we do that, I want to show you. So this is the predecessor to this, as I hold it properly.
Okay.
This is Meta, and this is Meta Watch. The charging clips, you notice, are totally different. This charging clip is basically a clothespin with electrical contacts.
Yeah.
that clamps onto the thing, and they went to the magnetic charging clip with the big round magnet
A
in
little
there.
more elegant. Yeah.
Totally works better. But that's the history on that, is that there's a process of development and learning involved here. For example, this is the Intel Basis B1, which was the first watch to do heart rate monitoring.
Okay. That screen looks awful.
That screen is pretty janky, and the four things you see there in the corners, the silver bits, those are capacitive contacts. You touch them to change the functions.
Now, heart rate monitoring, is that a painful thing? It's not grabbing blood. I mean, it's
So,
gotta be coarse,
first
though,
of
right?
all, there are metal contacts here that recognize via the skin, and there's a light that shines through and actually sees into your veins, reflects out of your veins, and senses from the reflection.
Now, I've heard heart rate monitoring basically sucks unless it's around your chest or something like that. Is that like the
No
watch
longer
ones?
true. Used to be
Okay.
true. No longer true. This one is early days. They've got a new model that actually uses a touchscreen, which is better, although not perfect. But there are many people that are doing it and using this science to do it. This one, the smartwatch from Fitbit, the Garmin stuff, they're all using something similar to this science to pull heart rate continuously.
Okay.
And it's really quite an accomplishment. It's not something we should diminish
Okay.
at all. But here's the thing: is we've highlighted that many of these things. So this one does no notifications whatsoever.
Right.
Its new version does, but originally this is focused on fitness. It's a pedometer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit of an altimeter. It's a accelerometer. It's a heart rate monitor, and they use their software to mash all those bits of data together to give you a really, really detailed picture of your activity and health. And it's quite good at that, but it doesn't have any notifications.
Right. Which.
Right? The new version does, just because everyone thinks you need notifications. This started the reverse direction. This started totally with notifications and is now gaining the fitness aspect.
Okay.
Right? So we're coming at this from different ends. The Magellan Echo has no notifications whatsoever, but is totally fitness. Well, the new Magellan Echo that was at CES adds GPS, adds notifications. At first, they're just doing the basic notifications, but they intend to add all the third-party notifications along the way. And this guy exists for one reason only.
Unlocking your door.
Right. So it's a matter of coming at this from all the directions and figuring out what is the problem we're solving. Now, Apple Watch, this was interesting. You remember that 2007 keynote that we talked about?
You're right.
They told us why we wanted one very clearly.
Yeah, Apple
They
didn't
said-
do that this time around.
All these things are terrible.
Yeah.
And by the way, you love your iPod, you love your internet, and here's a phone. And it's the best phone in the world.
Yeah.
Right? They made it very clear. Here, at this keynote where they introduced Apple Watch, they gave us 45 minutes of all the things that it can do,
But no why.
and not a word about why you want one.
Yeah.
But I've had some thoughts on this. For a long time, I was thinking about, they failed. They didn't tell us why we needed one. But you know what? I've kind of come to the realization that they don't have to tell us why we need one. What we need to do is when we go into the Apple Store, they ask us a little bit about the things we do in our life, and then from that, pick the feature that applies most.
Yeah.
And maybe that's how
But
we
even
identify what's meaningful to us.
So even the iPad, which is like a
I
blank
hear what you're saying.
because the iPad had a blank slate, they at least said here's 10 reasons why, but we don't even know what you're going to do because there's developers that are going to do crazy things with this.
Well, and that's
This
coming
is-
with Apple Watch as well.
Yeah.
But the iPad was clearly, you don't want to sit in your lovely lounge with your beautiful furniture and your beautiful decor and have a freaking laptop on your lap. Right? This is not how a lovely setup works. The iPad is very much a lean back, relax, and enjoy experience, where the laptop is, well, you've got a keyboard, and now you're at work, and so
Yeah.
that's the thing with the iPad. With the watch, many people run, many people jog, many people work out. So if there's the fitness aspect of this,
Yep.
and the fitness aspect that you could leave your phone behind and use the watch, and when you come back, all of the health information comes over.
Yeah.
Right?
The
That's
interesting-
advantageous.
The interesting thing about all of these, so I feel like the baseline thing in most of these watches is you're going to be tracking your steps in different health-related things, and in that aspect of the watches, you can actually switch out watches day to day, and your stats would theoretically carry over through HealthKit, where I could wear the Y things pop one day, the Apple Watch the other day, and it'd all be unified within that HealthKit app to have a baseline on steps, and just a matter of my style that day, or if I want to be notified that day, or if I want apps that day, that I could from there decide what is appropriate to wear that day. You know, and that I'm pretty sure I'll be wearing Apple Watch most of the time because it's new and shiny and probably a lot better.
Pick up two.
What's that?
Pick up two. Pick up two.
Pick up two. What do you mean?
You can give me one.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, of course. That's another concern, right? You buy one. You use it for perhaps 2 years before it's entirely obsolete, and then you have to go get another one.
Versus something like this, which is not trying to do a whole lot, that you'll be able to wear a while because
That doesn't even have a rechargeable battery. You can change the battery out in that thing forever.
yeah, 8 months and yeah, exactly. So yeah, the rechargeable battery won't decrease over time, and a lot of people may just end up wearing this just to wear it as a watch and not even care about the fitness stuff.
So my thought is we talk about this Apple Watch as being a watch that's going to go obsolete in 2 years, and I wonder if the example is instead to follow Apple TV's history, because Apple TV has been a very long-lived product, right? It's still an A5 processor inside that thing.
It's 3 generations at this point. Over 2008, I think that's came out. So, same time the iPhones had how many ever versions? There's only 3 versions of Apple TV at this point.
Yes.
Or 4,
and,
depending on how you want to count it.
Rev 3A.
Right, yeah.
But the thing is, if Apple Watch is a remote display for the phone, then there's no reason why it shouldn't be very long-lived. But because you can run native apps on it, then that's a reason why it will become more obsolete.
Because by version 3 or 4, it could be standalone without the phone, hypothetically.
Yeah.
Which is, eventually, I kind of think watch is where your cell phone data is going to live, and that'll be the new phone.
I don't know. I mean, at CES, I had a friend who arrived, and for whatever reason, he'd lost his phone, so he was using a Samsung with a slider keyboard as a pay-as-you-go phone while he figured out what he was doing about a phone. And I gave him a Nokia 521 Windows phone that I had as a spare.
Yep.
And, at least now he doesn't look like he's in 1988. He's using a phone that's got a touchscreen on it.
Sure.
The phone data living in your watch instead means that you're much less flexible for apocalyptic situations like that.
Yeah, I mean, my thought with the Apple Watch would eventually be through connectivity or whatever. That if you're by like an iPod Touch, iPhone type thing, it would know to ring there. It would know to ring your other things as well, and you'd pick up the iPhone size thing if it's convenient. But if not, you got your watch there or whatever it is.
I so don't want the Dick Tracy thing. Having done that with the iWatch,
Yeah.
it's abominable.
I don't know.
Really
yeah,
is.
and Bluetooth headsets, you don't think that will ever catch on as a standard thing. You just wear that with your Apple Watch.
They have yet to.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Come on, we've had Bluetooth headsets since 2006, and they haven't done a thing.
Yeah,
I had Bluetooth headsets that worked with the original click wheel iPod.
wow.
And the idea was, this was kind of cool. You had this Bluetooth thing that plugged into the iPod, and
To the
then
dock,
also
The dongle.
to the headphone port
Oh.
of the iPod,
Okay.
and paired with your cell phone, so that you could be listening to your iPod, and when a call would come in on your Nokia Symbian phone of terrible, that you would get the call to ring through to your ears instead of the iPod music. And it would even pause the iPod as a courtesy to you when it did this.
It's pretty smart, but pausing would be nice.
It was, well, if you think back to 2005 and 2006, this was brilliant. You could listen to your music and take and make calls.
It's sounds like something we do today. Quite a bit. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You have no sense of history.
I was alive back then. I was alive back then. I didn't have a cell phone.
Were
back
you
then.
were you really living back then? You weren't really alive.
I was alive back then.
You
No,
weren't
it's-
really living, though.
I was in
You
high
didn't
school.
really grasp the.
I was in high school in 2005. I had a cell phone and an iPod.
I was teaching high school in 2005.
Well, I feel really old now. Or young, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. But anyways, the Apple Watch. March is when we're thinking, or a lot of people are thinking it's coming out. Is that what you're
Yeah.
on board for? as
People shouldn't think.
well? No.
It- Apple manages their supply chain very well. Apple manages their suppliers very well. Even so, we still see delays ramping up, delays shipping from what people anticipate as a date. People have arrived at that date on their own. They have no guidance from Apple that says that's the date. They've made this number up. It could be April. And if people go, but oh, he said March, it's late. It's not late. You just didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Right? And even when Apple did give guidance, you know, back in the old days of Apple TV version 1, and something was late, big deal,
Yeah.
right? Apple still made sales. No one died. Maybe someone got fired, which is terrible. But it was for the most part for Apple, because Apple does their own distribution and stuff. It wasn't a big deal. Now the problem with shipping late if you're stocked in other retail stores, this becomes an issue. It becomes an issue because if you go to a Best Buy and there's an empty peg, that is apocalyptic. That is very bad.
Okay.
And Best Buy actually fines manufacturers who fail to ship in time.
But Apple hasn't announced anything. So.
But Apple hasn't promised a ship date. Now, obviously, if they're talking to retailers and going to be in retail stores, they have negotiated a ship date.
Sure.
We just don't know what it is. But you know, imagine, if you will, being handed a $16,000 fine for each day that you are not on a shelf.
Apple's got money for that. It's not really.
It's
but
not good.
It's not good, no.
It's not good
Yeah.
because you want people to go in and buy your stuff. But
Yeah.
I am, you know, this makes us ask the question, do we think that Apple Watch will be stocked in stores outside of Apple retail stores initially?
Not initially. I wouldn't think.
Well, then they don't have to worry about fines like that. And it's another good question is, where do you sell a good smartwatch, right? Is a good smartwatch sold in Best Buy? They currently stock some stuff.
They stock a lot of stuff, I've noticed. They
But
have a whole
But if
section
you're
of stuff.
buying,
And they have an Apple store
if
within
you're
that.
gonna
They have
buy-
they also have like a Apple store within the Best Buy.
store within a store,
Yeah.
which is the same thing they did with CompUSA back in the. But if you're going to go buy one of these, right?
Watch store.
Boutique jewelry store, sir.
Yeah.
Right? This is a high fashion item. This is a piece of jewelry. This is something to be respected, sir.
Yeah. Does Apple
So
Watch go there, then?
you're not going to go just to anywhere. You're going to go to a boutique. So my question then is: Apple Watch sold in Apple retail stores? Well, definitely, because it's their venue. Is Apple Watch sold in boutique jewelry stores? Authorized reseller relationships?
That would be.
Hmm.
I'm not sure at launch, like phase 2. Like, I don't know. It seems like a lot of negotiation to find all these different other places to make deals with, right?
Well, there are chain jewelry stores, and Apple is very good at arranging deals and picking a few
Yeah.
special authorized resellers.
Yeah.
But the thing is you have something, and do you want it to be in Best Buys, in blah real estate, in the odd neighborhoods that some of them are in? Do you want it to show up in all of the Walmarts?
Right.
Do you want it to be in the locked glass case that's at the bottom shelf at Target?
Yeah.
Is that how you want to display your crown jewel product?
And would the sport edition be in places the other ones aren't? Because that one's like your low end one, the other ones are a bit higher, right?
We suspect. We don't really know. But the... Where is the customer, and how much money do they have that they intend to spend? Does that fit within the average selling price of other products in those stores? Does this make sense to place it there? And do you place it there because that, you sell an iPhone 5C in Walmart because, by God, you're going to sell an iPhone 5C in Walmart,
Sure.
right? And you can sell 16 gig iPads in Walmart. But it takes a rare bird who's going to go buy that 128 gig cellular everything gold
At Walmart.
at Walmart.
I certainly wouldn't go to Walmart to buy that.
You do it if you do it on launch day at midnight because you know that they're going to have one for you where everyone else is sold out,
Yeah, that's a fair point.
right? But that also takes a pretty crazy kind of guy,
Yes, it does.
having been there at midnight doing
Yeah,
this stunt.
Yeah. Now,
you
looking at the Apple Watch, the two sizes, I'm almost thinking the small size could be the better of the two watches.
well, so
am I
here's the
crazy?
thing: is that they've measured them in a way. You are,
Okay. Okay.
but not for that reason.
Okay.
But
Go
because
ahead.
you are. So they've measured them differently, right? Normally, many people measure a watch, and when they measure a watch, they measure from one side of the case to the other side of the case, horizontal diameter, not including the crown that you use to set it.
Okay.
Okay, so in that case, this watch that I'm holding up here is a 36 millimeter watch. They increased the size later to a 39 millimeter.
Okay.
It's 36 from this edge to this edge, diameter across, not including the crown. Apple has chosen to measure it from lug to lug, which is up here at this edge, all the way down to this edge, which is much taller.
Right.
So that changes the measurement of this watch entirely,
Yeah.
right? Everyone else in the world measures them side-to-side diameter, not including crown. Measuring from lug to lug, like that, is a different measurement. In some ways, it's a better measurement because the idea is, how much does this thing fill my wrist, right?
Right.
How much is this thing going to show of my wrist or not show of my wrist? But it's just not the normal way of doing it.
So you're saying it's
So-
smaller than it would appear.
Tell me the millimeter numbers lug to lug of these watches.
One's
Vertically.
42.
And the other is 38?
Yeah, 42 and 38.
Okay. So
Imagine thickness to be the
Calipers here,
same on both and all that.
Right. So I have calipers here. Hey,
Look at
look
that.
at that. Yeah. And I'm going to measure the lug to lug of that 36 millimeter side to side watch. Lug to lug, that guy is 43 millimeters.
Okay.
So this guy that's 36 wide is 43 tall lug to lug.
Interesting. So that's actually bigger height-wise.
Yeah.
The
and
rounded
this is
shape would make it probably more feel smaller in a way, right?
This is commonly regarded as a small watch,
Yeah. It doesn't look.
but it's
massive.
the size. It's the size that I like. You know, by way of comparison, this, which is not unreasonably massive, but is kind of big, is side to side. 45, and because its strap is integrated, we're just going to measure a little bit like that. It's close to 50 tall,
Okay.
so it's pretty massive. Now the thing you have to keep into account here
What
is
is the iPad?
I don't know, somewhere around here.
I should find it.
Child looking for an iPad.
You can see. Right here.
The Apple Watch comes in two sizes, and it comes in two sizes because there has been this bigger watch trend over the past few years that is now slowly waning but still exists. And one of the questions that Apple had to ask themselves was, how do you address women? How do you address what is a woman's watch? And
The funny thing is
so there are
that
two
they
sizes, so that one of them is womanly, and you know they have rose gold as a finish.
A funny thing though is a women's trend has been to wear the male watches, right?
Well, but it's been to wear the smaller male watches,
Okay.
somewhat. I mean,
Yeah.
younger women will wear the large ones.
Yeah, I've seen that. It's like, what the heck?
but-
on?
Flavor Flav, y'all! I got a clock.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah.
You know, it's important to look at Michael Kors, right? Michael Kors sells many fashion watches in shopping malls. They are what used to be a man's size. They're about that 36 to 38 millimeter size, which
Okay.
is the width. So that smaller watch is definitely a woman's watch, but women may well wear the big one.
Yeah.
I expect that I will try on both sizes. I may find that I like the smaller one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sucky thing like pre-ordering, like. Yeah, how do you know?
Well, the advantage of pre-ordering is you get one, and you do have a return window,
You do. You do.
so you aren't stuck.
Now, what
But
kind of price difference do you think we should expect between the two sizes?
not going to guess. I mean,
Is it gonna be like $100
A
upgrade,
question
like the 6 to 6 Plus kind of thing?
it's a valid question.
Yeah.
The costs that are involved in that are both tooling costs, which are one time,
Yeah.
and the increased screen size.
And the gold one, obviously. The gold, right? No, I don't know. Is it not much more gold or not?
What are you going to charge for gold? You know, do you have you reached the point where an Apple Watch is now a $2,000 beauty item, or are you still trying to stay in the sub 1,000 range?
Yeah, the gold one's baffling to me. What they'll do with that?
Well, the problem that you have here, if you're Apple, is that there are a number of different types of people that you're trying to address, some of whom were never watch wearers to begin with, right? Some of whom are watch wearers but are in the sub 1,000 budget or even sub 500 budget.
Yeah, 500's a good.
Some of whom are watch wearers who are in the sub $10,000 range, right?
Yeah.
You know, your Rolex retail price these days is in the $6,000 and $7,000 and higher dollars. You used 4,000, right?
Right.
Your Tag Heuer watches traditionally were in the sub thousands, but are somewhere around the thousand-ish now.
And where does the smartwatch fit into that you may want to upgrade in a couple of years?
Or, well, I mean, Tissot T-Touch is the capacitive touchscreen kind of Tissot watch for sport. But yeah, what do you do with an Apple Watch? Who are you selling it to of these people, and what are they prepared to pay?
Yeah.
And, Apple violates that some in that they know that just by asking a price, people will find a way to afford it.
I feel
But
like the different finishes, though.
there are limits.
It's different, though, because before it was like, a 6 Plus is this, a 6 is this. There's a difference in size and what you get out of it. Different materials and finishes. There's tangible difference as far as your style or whatever, but a lot of people, money will be the deciding factor for that one, right?
Well, some, and I was talking with at CES some of the case manufacturers just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Cases and screen protectors were a thing this year again. In years past, they've been plastic screen protectors that were 0.2 millimeters thin, and that was, the technologies, we got thin, right? This year, big focus on glass, and one of the things that I saw was flexible glass, which is pretty cool. So I asked one of these guys, what is the biggest seller that you know of? And he's like, well, I'm the Latin America sales guy. So in Mexico, people like to get this big case for the 6 Plus that faces the back outwards, and they use it on a belt clip, and they put a huge thing on the belt clip. And I said, so why? He says, well, the first is to show off. And I said, great. So how do you really show off? I mean, if you're really baller, right? Mijo, if you're really baller, what do you do to, amigo? What do you do to show off? And he says, well, my friend, what you really do to show off is you get 2 6 Pluses, dos. And you get 2 belt clips, and you put them face out. And you walk down the street, and everyone knows this is the man with 2 iPhone 6 Plus.
Wow.
So, you get 2 Apple Watches, gold, you double wrist, right?
That's gonna be a thing.
You hear what I'm saying? I don't know if it's going to be a thing, but it sounds like money to me.
I can see a morning and a night watch,
Money. Money. I think.
I could totally see a morning and night watch where you, like, at night you set and you're charging and go, I don't know if the other watch is.
I honestly love going to CES and talking to sales managers for regions other than America, because you learn so much about what's important to their consumers. And for consumers in Mexico, and it wasn't true of Central America, it wasn't true of other countries that this sales manager serviced, but it was true for Mexico, that people loved to put in the belt clip and show off the iPhone. And I really, such a fantastic guy, and so hearing that was so cool. It's so informative, because, and it's really important to remember, Apple sells worldwide. There are people who do not live as you and I live.
It's true. Very true.
And Apple knows this, and they got to think about this in all of their plans. They aren't just selling to Cupertino. They aren't just selling to Palo Alto. And they aren't just selling to you and I. They're selling all over the place. What are the things that they have to do to address those markets? What are the things that they have to do to address those different income ranges, to different needs, and still maintain a small number of products they have to make?
Mm-hmm.
This is a real thing, right?
It's kind of interesting because gold's huge in all these other markets where you wouldn't want to, or would you? I mean, super expensive stuff where they don't have money to buy what they would actually want, the gold coloring, like poor countries love gold, a lot of them.
Well, I think that's a dangerous statement to make.
Yeah, I should rephrase that, right? Because every country has rich people, right? I mean, it's just the...
You can edit out my calling you amigo and mijo, too, if you want.
I mean, it's just the percentages, right? Where it's not even that. Like, some populations, you have more populace than you do here, where it feels like they're poor, when in fact they're not, in a way. I don't know.
It's gold is popular in other places of the world where stainless steel has become popular in regions you and I know.
Right.
Right. Many people, when they've made it today, they don't go get a gold watch.
They don't.
Right? They may get a stainless steel watch.
Yeah.
The gold is very popular in the Far East, in Singapore, in Hong Kong, and in places. Gold.
Yep. Absolutely.
And maybe even rose gold as opposed to traditional yellow gold.
Yep. Now I got a gold iPad and gold iPhone, so maybe it makes sense to get a gold watch, but I don't think I want the gold watch. I want to stay on silver watch.
I got the gold iPhone, but I did not get the gold watch. I did not get the gold iPad.
iPad, yeah, it's very shiny.
You covered it up with a case.
No, I got the smart cover.
All right.
Yeah.
Many people
the
get
phone's covered in a case. Like, yeah. But anyway.
At least with mine, you can see it's gold.
Yeah, mine, you can see the camera gold, you can see the Touch ID thing, and the volume ringer.
Gold. Gold. There's gold.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
But anyways,
the watch. I still think that, and this is the difficulty with Moto 360, by the way, is people wear these things because they want to show they're early adopters and they're cool, that they have something, they have an affinity for tech, and it's going to take the Apple Watch to really break past that affinity for tech thing and let people understand what it's going to do for them.
Yeah.
And until that happens, it's just uncertain how it all shakes out. We know people are going to buy plenty of Apple Watches. We also know that they're not going to know why at first.
Now, you think it'll be your daily driver, the Apple Watch? Like, you'll put aside all other watches pretty much?
My friend, I do not have lots of disposable income at hand.
Okay, I got you. So you might
it's
not need
entirely
Apple Watch
possible. Entirely possible that I may not even have one.
Okay, gotcha. So I know you have a lot of watches, so I wasn't sure if you'd be right off the bat.
I have a few wristwatches. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could say that I own
You have more than your
one
typical average.
or two
Yeah.
or 10 or some number of I have some watches.
Yeah.
I don't have many very, very expensive watches. I don't have many very good. I have many reliable watches.
Mm-hmm.
But I am not in the $6,000 and $7,000, $10,000 clubs. No.
Yeah. Gotcha.
No.
Okay.
No. I'm in the Seiko diver.
That's
range.
what the under 150, 200 crowd.
About 3.
3. Okay.
And used 150, but 3.
Yeah.
I have a few nice Swiss moves, but the watch world is interesting, right? So for a long time, watch companies that didn't have the means and manufacturing capability to make their own movements would buy movements from a movement manufacturer, sometimes a company called ETA, owned by Swatch Group.
Yeah.
And so there were many, many different watches out there, all powered by what was essentially the same movement, some nicer finished, some regulated better, some perform. There was a range within you could buy.
Yeah.
But ostensibly, many of these were the same movement. And all performed well and cost differences of several $1,000s. Breitlings for a while were and I think maybe still are powered by ETA movements. The same movement in a much less expensive watch. Right? So part of what you're buying is the prestige of a name, and part of it what you're buying is the finishing of all the other materials, the dial, the hands, the bracelet, the case, and all of those things. But it's entirely possible to affordably get a Swiss watch.
Why is Swiss such a big deal in the watch world?
Well, Swiss is first of all, there's a heritage of where watchmaking was founded as a practice. Mm-hmm. There's a reputation for precision and care.
Okay.
And for the handwork that goes into it. Yes, there are Swiss manufacturers who make large numbers of products a year, but they still require, even though there's machine stamping and things like this, there's a lot of hand finishing work involved. And so you are trusting that the people who've lived their whole lives performing these tasks are doing them with ultimate care and precision. You're buying something that's not just the prestige of owning the brand, but is also there have been many fine artisans who have put their hearts into this thing.
So the Swiss thing is almost like a handmade with love and Swiss kind of thing versus the made in China factory taboo thing that is kind of still around. It's kind of the opposite of it.
Yeah, but I should say the other largest manufacturer of watch movements is not Swiss. No.
No?
No.
Where?
Japan.
That would make sense, actually.
So,
Yeah.
Miyota makes movements. Miyota is owned by Citizen. Right? So between Citizen and Seiko, and Rolex and Swatch Group, I would think that those are the very biggest watch manufacturers in the world.
Okay.
And China exists as watchmaking, but China watchmaking is only now beginning to come into its own as something other than bad copies,
Yeah.
or even as something other than good copies.
I was thinking the sports watch realm of mass manufacturing.
There is mass manufacturing of sport watch stuff, but when we talk about mechanical movements, especially Miyota, Swatch Group.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The windings is very odd to me because there's no like knob because it's all done through the app as far as setting the watch and all that.
Good.
Which is really kind of cool. I mean,
So waterproofing a watch traditionally is hard, right? You've got a couple of places you have to waterproof. You have to waterproof at the crystal,
yeah.
so that water doesn't come in from the top. You have to waterproof at the back, so that water doesn't come in the back. And you have to waterproof at the crown where you set it, because that's something that has to move,
Yep.
right? And so the way that they do this traditionally is with a nylon gasket for the crystal that's compressed, a rubber or Viton gasket for the back, and rubber or Viton O-rings for the crown, both on the tube, inside the tube, and underneath the crown where it screws down.
Yep.
And sometimes that's depends on the number of gaskets what they decide they're going to brand it as. Rolex uses twin lock and triple lock based on the number of rubber O-rings they've got involved.
Yeah.
Waterproofing is hard.
It is.
It
We've
really
seen
is.
Most smartwatches aren't.
Correct. Or if they are, they're to very small amounts, like 5 ATM, which means you can splash around in the pool with this, but don't go deep.
Yeah. The Apple Watch,
Right.
I hope at least you can wash your hands with. That's about it, probably.
Well, so one of the interesting things they've done there is they're using that digital crown using infrared.
Meaning it's not a mechanical movement?
There's very little mechanical about the Apple Watch.
Oh.
And so waterproofing it should be far easier.
Yeah. And I would imagine they're doing the magnetic charging to help with that.
No exposed ports. Everything's sealed.
But
Right?
still, you can't swim with the Apple Watch. I don't know why, but...
Because, well, part of it is warranty, right?
Yeah.
How many people are going to go and do this and then come into Apple and ask for a replacement? Or a courtesy replacement where it's a one-time deal? It's just...
It'd be nice to have a swimming app on the Apple Watch.
You know what? Get your Misfit or your Meta and go swimming. It'll
Yeah,
sink
that's
into
Apple's
HealthKit.
answer, right? I mean, that's Apple's answer.
Just. Well, it's not like you go swimming in your clothes. You're not going swimming in the hoodie and jeans unless you're doing some rescue thing, right?
That's true.
You put on a swimsuit. If you're going to change your attire for the activity, you can probably change your wearable for the activity too.
Yeah. No, that's what I'll plan.
Can you?
I plan on doing.
Really? No? Yeah.
You can. It would just be nice to not have to worry about. Oops, I accidentally jumped in and I forgot to take the watch off.
I think I really do believe that it's possible that they could waterproof it. It's possible third parties will offer to waterproof it. You know, Liquipel,
Yeah.
HZO, Zag's invisible treatment that they do for all of these. There are many third parties that waterproof things.
I'm sure the first week we'll have people trying to ruin their, or testing it to see how much it can withstand.
I have a waterproof iPod. I have an H2O audio iPod Shuffle with waterproof headphones.
That sounds wonderful, actually.
It's fantastic. I got a heck of a sunburn because I was listening to the NPR radio plays of Star Wars while I was swimming in the pool and forgot to come out because I was enjoying the listening.
Are there headphones or earbuds, or how does that work?
Earbuds.
Okay. And there's no
earbuds
leakage, like has.
So the way you do this, right? First of all, the earbuds have that sort of same shape that earplugs have for swimming.
Okay.
That sort of cone shape.
Yep.
And second of all, the secret to good seal is you put just a little bit of Vaseline on the earbud tip when you insert it into your ear.
Okay.
And it just stays in, and it's perfect all day.
Sounds pretty great.
Simple solutions, man. You don't have to do a lot. You just have to do a little.
Yeah. That's cool.
So, I've got all of these smartwatches here. And the truth is, I don't wear them very much. And the reason is that even though notifications can be fun briefly, there's nothing so critical about them that I have to have them all the time on the wrist. And I found that after a day or after 4 days or whatever the number of days was, that when it ran out of battery, I'd put it on the charger and have to not wear it for a day while it was charging. And then I found I didn't have to wear it at all.
Wow. Now, so the one thing I would wish is, like with this one, just buzz my wrist when someone's calling my phone. That's the only notification I really care about, quite honestly.
Yeah, but you know that that's going to run down your battery, right?
Yeah,
Running a motor to vibrate is a serious amount of energy.
Yeah. There is an alarm feature. So I know it can vibrate, but that's once a day versus...
Once a day versus ridiculous amount. You're a popular guy, Tim. You're going to get phone calls all the time. It's going to wear down the battery.
That's true, yeah.
I mean, your fans calling you at all hours, day and night, is going to burn up that motor.
Yeah,
it just is.
Yeah. It's
a hard life you live, my friend.
It is. I mean, I can deal without it, but yeah. That's the only notification I really care about. So the one you showed earlier, the traditional watch, that's the one you wear.
That's the watch that I wore at CES.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have that. I wear a Timex. Yeah, I have a Timex that's quite nice that I'll wear.
Now, something we've seen is the smart stuff being integrated into the band itself as a thing for the track.
Right. So the recent introduction with that was actually a Mont Blanc Meisterstück.
Which those guys they're pen manufacturers, right? I mean, they make really nice pens.
Are you kidding me?
Mont Blanc? I mean, I like Pelicans better, but they make pens. Mont Blanc? Or am I misplacing it? Is there two Mont Blancs?
First of all, it's the same Mont Blanc, but they make more than pens. They've been making watches since the 1880s, something.
Okay. I knew them for the pens because I was a fountain pen guy in high school. I collected them and stuff. Was totally oblivious to watch history. They have been making more of their watch history in recent years. They've been making more watch models in recent years, but watches are not foreign territory to them. Okay.
But putting the smart bit on the band is foreign territory and is a new thing, and it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Is it a band you would?
I mean, the benefit here is, well, so if this thing runs out of battery, I don't know what time it is. I have to dig for my phone. which hopefully has battery, and then I'll know what time it is. But there are occasions, like at CES, where your phone runs out of battery because, my God, CES, right?
Right.
This thing works pretty much reliably forever as long as I don't, abuse it.
And if your band runs out, who the heck cares? 'Cause it's just a stupid band.
It's
You
just a
don't track
band.
Your steps, yeah. Who cares?
Right, well, or you plug it in and you get all your notifications back,
Yeah.
So there's something very smart about that. There's also something very smart about you're not committing huge amounts of money to something that you can't later upgrade.
Right.
Right?
Totally.
So there are a couple of really good things about that.
Is the band less good because it has to fit a battery and trackers in there?
Well, some of that. The other thing is that there's this thing called desk diving, which is what people talk about when they have scratches on the clasp. Here on this clasp, and I don't know if you'll pick them up, but there's a pretty, not really picking it up in the camera, but there's a
Not
nice
really.
scratch in there.
Yeah,
And-
my watch face, my Pebble is just like ridiculously scratched.
Yeah, but if you look on the clasps, right, just from rubbing the clasp across your desk as you're typing,
Yep.
the clasp will get scratched.
Sure.
So you've put a display back there now.
Is it a display or just tracking that's Bluetooth?
Well, on the one that I thought I saw, and this news came out while I was at CES, so I didn't pay that much attention, but the one that I saw was that there was a display for notifications on the clasp,
Oh, did not even catch that.
I think. And if that's the case, then that's a concern.
That would be, for sure.
Well, and also there's a little bit of a contrast, right? You've got this fantastic mechanical movement with a beautiful dial and a janky display on your other side of the wrist. What?
Yeah. I mean, it's the idea that you won't see that janky display. I'm not sure.
Part of the wearing of these is they're subtle, but they're jewelry, and you wear jewelry to be seen.
Yeah, you do.
So,
Yeah. Now, did you have a chance to see that WebOS smartwatch?
the Audi
Maker?
watch,
Yeah.
Audi. Here's a guilty secret. I like WebOS.
I love it too. It's my favorite operating system.
Do you actually have a phone or device running it?
I have a Pre 3 touchpad. I've got a Pre 2, a Veer. I have two Veers. I actually bought an extra when they were going out. Yeah, I have like a new box Veer. I love WebOS. Yeah. I'm
Okay,
that guy. I'm that guy.
you're a better that guy than I am.
Yeah.
I never actually owned one. I just liked the idea of it.
They're awesome, and they were doing the connectivity thing before Apple was doing it with the answer your
Handoff
touchpad.
and
Handoff. Yeah.
Well, what I wished had happened was that I wished they'd gone as far as they'd promised they were and actually introduced the laptops running WebOS.
That'd be brilliant.
You remember that announcement?
I do. Yeah.
I would like to try out a Veer. Veer was the one that John Rubinstein used to use,
It's so small and like awesome. Like,
and I would like to try out a Pre 3, and I would totally put a SIM card in there and use it.
Yeah. The sad thing is, all the HP shut down all the web services this month.
No, but LuneOS had an escape hatch for that.
Oh, they did. Okay, didn't catch that yet.
You were supposed to do something, some strange number of tricks that would be your escape hatch to keep going. And I thought for a while about getting a Nexus and running WebOS on it, LuneOS on it, but
No, LG owns WebOS now. They're doing the watch. They're doing TVs.
they're doing TVs.
Would they ever do phones again?
They keep flirting with it. You go to CES and you ask them, and they go, "Well, maybe."
Because it is a solid OS. I
maybe
mean, it's never taken
could.
off.
But
it's like one of those
I will-
elegant OSs out there.
I will ask one favor of you, and
Yeah.
you will not refuse. You will put WebOS back on a phone.
Yeah.
They will do this if,
Yeah.
right? But it's encouraging that it's in TVs. It's in one of their Blu-ray players. It's
Watch makes sense, actually.
in the
quite
watch.
honestly. Because the whole card metaphor would work really well there. I feel if it's done right. I don't know.
Starting your car from your watch is
The
kind of
card.
dopey.
Card is what I meant to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But that's what the Audi Watch allows you to do, is to start
You
your
start your
car from your wrist.
Which a lot of people are into that remote start crap, but I don't really care for it. I just get in the car and go.
What I do like is the self-parking valet thing.
That is pretty awesome. Now
That was a BMW kind of feature, I believe.
I
but
do wonder, like, so you're trying to find a parking spot in Boston. There's no place to park. You just get out of your car and have it look for a parking spot for like an hour, and if that would be possible.
you know, the smarter thing would be send your car home
Yeah,
and summon it to come pick you back up.
there'd be a lot of gas though to do that probably. If you're
What future are you living in?
I don't know.
Petrol? What?
Electricity isn't free either.
Well, no, but you're moving the costs around.
That's true.
But at some point, that's the future we will be in.
Oh, agreed. And you'll be in a future where you don't actually own any one car. You just summon a car, and you drive that car to your destination. It goes off, and you come home on a different car because there's all these cars out there.
That's a future, but the thing is that Americans have a strong history of pride of ownership,
We do.
and so weaning us away from the idea of owning a vehicle works for big cities,
Cities would definitely take off in, I feel.
harder for the rest of the country,
Agreed, completely.
because it ties into something guttural about independence and the
Does.
liberty to not be dependent on someone else to determine when you can go somewhere.
Yeah, it's like if I want to drive across the country today, I'll be able to do it on my car that I own. You know,
And I could,
and I could, yeah, it's right there.
right now.
Right there. Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm going to get up and go do that right this second. Yes.
Oh boy.
No, I'm not.
Yeah,
But I have in the past.
sure.
Hey,
What
I can.
else? Yeah.
14 hours nonstop. I can be in Chicago.
I did that during Christmas. I went from New Hampshire to Indiana. It's a good 14, 15 hours.
Yeah.
Took 2 naps, and it was all set.
Naps. What kind of wimp are you?
I can't stay awake that one.
Straight through.
Can't stay awake. Anyways, so how was your CES? Was anything catch your eye in particular?
So here's my thing about CES. I spent a lot of time looking at car. I spent a lot of time looking at home automation.
Did you get in the car that you're supposed to floor it against the wall?
No,
It's
no,
not
I did
for you?
not. I did
Okay.
not get in the BMW.
That sounds amazing. Like, I don't know. That could save lives. Essentially.
Yes, but how long until it becomes a part of our future, right?
Right.
The i3 is shipping. I've seen them out on the road, but
I saw the, it was BMW i something. It was like a weird, huge electric car.
well, so there's the 3 and there's the 8.
It's probably the 8.
The 8 is the sports car. The 3 is the box.
Oh, yeah, it was the 3 then. Yeah, it was the 3.
Yeah. Right, so the 3 is shipping, and the 3 has... They were showing the 3 that could do that crash avoidance.
Yeah, the 3, it looked really weird on the road in New Hampshire.
It does.
Yeah.
But, you know, they'll give it a software upgrade after they've firmly gotten all of the problems out of the crash detection,
Yeah,
and you'll do it.
which is awesome.
Which is cool. But things that caught my eye are things much closer to home, literally. You know, Alpine's unit for CarPlay, which I'll be reviewing soon. The problem with the Pioneer units that you and I have is that they have that whole Pioneer mode where the graphics are very much like Japanese movie OS.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, weird trapezoidal buttons that are highly clustered close together, modal windows for the in-call behavior that shouldn't be a modal window, all kinds of bizarre stuff that Pioneer has done.
Yep.
And the Alpine unit does none of these things. The Alpine unit is strictly CarPlay, with the only thing that is Alpine World is a bit of menu settings and the FM radio.
I will tell you, the Bluetooth, I did set Bluetooth, and it is nice, the option of just, like, let me listen to stuff on Bluetooth for this 2-minute car ride versus plugging in my phone.
Just plug in your phone, Tim.
Well, then you have to unlock it and have it initiate CarPlay, and sometimes it's just nice to have Bluetooth running for your audio.
You plug in and press your finger for a second and go.
It's a long
Are
process
you nuts?
sometimes, you know.
No.
You know.
The Alpine unit dispenses with all of that other stuff and does just the CarPlay and basics. There's something nice about having a car company or an audio company recognize where they should back off.
Is it going to be cheaper?
No.
Okay. Just curious.
I don't know what actual retail will shape out to be, but the value of the review unit is 800 bones.
Wow. Yeah,
7-inch display, really good display, really beautiful stuff. And unlike the Pioneer unit, the color calibration looked correct. So
now I did see gray in mine when I looked at it. I was there. And
open your THX app, put on the digital AV connector.
I don't have the connector thing hooked up. I don't. I'll have to have it plug it in when they do my rear view camera at some point this year.
Do the camera. The camera's good.
I will.
The Parrot radio is the polar opposite. The Parrot radio does Android Auto, does CarPlay, does Parrot's World too. And Parrot's World is connecting to OBD and doing driver diagnostics about the same way that Automatic does.
Yeah. I'm kind of tempted to get an Automatic just to look at my error codes. Like, what
do you have error codes?
I have a check maintenance light when I took my big long road trip. Which I'm thinking it just triggered on a mileage that it wants me to do my whatever 20,000 mile checkup thing. I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Yeah.
But I'd like to know what it means.
Worth looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have Automatic. I liked it a lot initially. It's still handy for a few things.
So for that instance, would it tell me more than just check, like, for check maintenance, it would tell me what
Automatic
means?
gives you, Automatic gives you the code. Automatic gives you the code with the description that's specific to your manufacturer.
Yeah.
And they give you a lookup where you can search on more information about the code.
Okay. So one light could indicate several different types of code, several different codes, right?
Well,
Or no?
you know, the engine codes are all the engine codes, and they all mean almost the same thing.
Yeah.
But there are some.
They have multiple meanings.
Well,
Or
just nuances.
Yeah.
Let's say, you know. For example, a misfire on a cylinder 1 is always going to be a misfire on cylinder 1.
Yeah.
But idle air control something is still idle air control something, but it may mean it's at the throttle body. It may mean it's, you know, there are nuances.
Okay.
And the beauty is that Automatic knows which car manufacturer you have because you've put in your VIN.
Right.
And so they give you the correct variation.
Okay. Now, does your car? Is it new enough where it can read the gasoline left and all that crap?
One of my 2 cars is new enough that it tells me when I have a range issue with
Okay.
gasoline.
Okay. I know mine doesn't qualify for that one.
Well, yeah, but you're using a dustbuster anyway.
A dustbuster. Oh.
Yeah,
Yes.
your Prius, it's a dustbuster.
It is a what like?
It's an electric wedge.
Electric wedge. I got you.
Dustbuster.
Analogy. Yeah. Yeah. So, what else do you like about a Mac?
The gas tracking is cool. The IFTTT integration is kind of cool. The codes is cool. I don't really need to look at the map and consult how many times I hit the brakes or accelerator.
Yeah. Have you ever lost your car and that's handy, or?
Why would I ever lose my car?
I don't know. Some people lose their cars. They don't know where they park.
Bizarre.
Yeah, there's people out there that just like lose their cars and have to buy another one.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
$30,000 whatever piece of
Yeah,
no.
yeah, I did Overpark. Yeah,
Yeah.
At least, I mean, for me, it would at least if I got it, it'd be one step ahead of let me pin my location.
Do you do that?
I will occasionally if I'm not familiar with the area.
No.
Now
Alright.
the Nest integration is kind of peculiar. So I guess it assumes every time you leave work around 5, you're just immediately going home. Because that doesn't happen for me. I have a different schedule every night. I don't know.
Well, but Nest can learn that schedule and learn what to do on those nights anyway. So
Yeah. But yeah, I
all
guess
it's
one
really
of-
doing is taking it out of auto away, and
Yeah, I guess one of the things at CES is they announced Nest and automatical hookup.
yeah, and I'm going to try that out. But one of the things that I found that I liked was these partnerships between Nest and my favorite ceiling fan company in the world, Big Ass Fans.
I've never heard this place.
Big Ass Fans is a company based out of Kentucky,
Okay.
and they've been making ceiling fans for industrial uses for a number of years. They entered the domestic market a couple of years ago, let's say,
Yep.
and they make a big-ass fan,
The Haiku.
Haiku Sense Me. And Haiku Sense Me works with Nest, works with Jawbone, works with Nest so that you set generally the temperature you want, and instead of running the AC all the time to get there, they regulate it with the fan, so you've now saved energy.
That's cool.
With Jawbone, you have one of these in your bedroom, and Jawbone tells when you're going to sleep. The fan then goes ahead and cools the room so that you'll sleep better. Because that's one of the things, is that when you have a room that's too hot, you toss and turn trying to regulate your temperature, and you sleep worse.
No,
Optimal temperature for sleep is somewhere between 66 and 69 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's true.
Well, cooler is better, but there you go.
Agree.
These kind of partnerships are meaningful, and I also like that they work across different brands. So you don't have to buy one thing from one vertical, right? Other things I saw at CES that were meaningful were things that learned, right? The idea of a lighting system that learns the same way that your thermostat learns. We've got a lot of remote-controlled lights, Hue remote-controlled lights, all these bulbs. I want this stuff to do stuff for me.
Like, I wish when I turned on my projector, the lights automatically went to a certain mode, off or like low or whatever. Stuff like that. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
should happen. Should be. Isn't yet.
Yeah.
Um,
Was HomeKit, that's becoming a thing now, finally?
Early days.
Because, I don't know, it was on this announcement last year and still nothing.
Well, it was on the announcement from Apple that they were doing it to developers.
Yeah.
So it's up to developers to do that. Now, we're about 6 months on from that announcement, let's say.
Now, firmware updates will be possible to make stuff that's not HomeKit enabled.
Unlikely.
No, that's not going to happen.
Not entirely sure. Some of that's possible for stuff that's prepared for it at CES this year. But for stuff that's from last year, unlikely.
Like, if Nest wanted to, they probably couldn't firmware update their Nest.
If Nest wanted to, they could. Nest doesn't want to because they're Google.
They're Google. But Google is integrating with some iOS-y things, right?
Well, sort of, but not really.
But Nest is trying
But
to
kind
create their
of.
own HomeKit, right? But the Nest does
Well, that's what they want to do, and that's
Yeah.
why they have that partnership program. But Honeywell Lyric is getting an update to be HomeKit.
That's kind of interesting. Because, like, all the Apple people originally loved Nest because, you know... It's
Well,
elegant.
because Tony.
Tony Fadell, and it's elegant, and it's, you know, it's all good. I don't know. And then
Tony and
Honeywell,
Matt. Tony and Matt Rogers. But
yeah, the big evil Honeywell is copying Nest, or whatever you want to call it.
well, from their perspective, it's not copying. They're simply taking inspiration from their original round thermostat that they've made since the
Yeah.
1940s that Nest
Yeah.
ripped off. Right? Think
Yeah.
about it. And
Yeah.
how do they view this?
They
This was
Nest.
their baby, and
Yeah.
Nest stole it, and they're taking it back.
Yeah, they were angry.
They're taking it back. So it's really their thing. But
It is.
Lyric and HomeKit are totally happening.
Was okay. Was Honeywell's hardware halfway decent? Like it looked was it elegant or nice? I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you'd be comfortable having it in your house
Yes.
versus a Nest. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Good to hear.
I've had many years of experience with Nest. These integrations are positive, but I don't have to have Nest as long as I've got something that performs the same kind of tasks as conveniently.
Yep. No, I agree with that.
Nest has not surrendered the throne. I've still got it on my wall, but there are other options.
Right.
And if these other options work with these other things the way that I hope that they will,
yeah,
then I'm in a good place.
At the same time, I already dished out whatever the 250 or 350 the Nest was, and I'm not rushing to replace that anytime soon. Yeah.
Well, but you're making a mistake, right? First of all, that's a sunk cost. That money's been spent. You're never seeing that money again.
It's true. It's true.
And secondly, you already got all that money back. How long have you had Nest?
A year and a half, probably.
Right. So you have made up in savings on your bills what you spent on that guy.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So then what are you crying about?
I just need a real reason to spend another couple $100 on thermostat. HomeKit, I'm not sure if that's the reason yet. Like, maybe it is. Like, maybe he's telling Siri I'm cold or hot. That'll be cool enough to warrant it. I don't know.
Well, although, I will say this, right? One of the occasions for using the Nest app is it's the middle of the night. Go turn down. Mm-hmm. Do you really want to speak to Siri
no,
in that
No,
no. Yeah.
And I'm on the airplane, and I open up the app. I'm not going to say Siri on the airplane to do this. Instead, I'm going to open up the app and do it there. Yeah. I mean,
there are contexts.
It really is, yeah. What about that? Now, say I'm cooking, I want to change thermostat. Siri would be probably better in that case. I don't want to touch your phone. Yeah. Anyways.
There are contexts, but that's what's going on with that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm excited about it. I'm anticipating it being something cool.
Yeah. So the HomeKit, the idea is you can link a bunch of different services together, like you're getting ready for bed, it changes your temperature, lights, and all this other stuff, locks your door, all together. That's the idea.
Waiting to see how it actually is implemented.
Like you have recipes or something like that.
Waiting to see how it's actually implemented.
Yeah, that's what I thought was happening. I'm not sure.
Waiting to see.
So next Christmas we'll have HomeKit, you think, or is that too soon still?
I believe that the Lyric thermostat thing is happening. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening in the first part of this year.
That'll be the first HomeKit product you're thinking.
It's going to be a race. It's close. If it isn't the first, it's close.
Now, Hugh better have a way to firmware update the bulbs or whatever, because no way I want to buy new bulbs that are already...
Well, they don't have to update the bulbs. They just got to update their bridge.
Okay, that's true.
Right?
Yeah. So I may need to buy a new bridge, potentially.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We'll see.
But, all of those devices that use a bridge, you just update the bridge or replace the bridge, and you've got it fixed. But what I'm hopeful about is that it's not just more on-off remotes. I really want things
to learn and be
learn. And one of the products that I was there and saw did learn lighting. There was Lucis from New Bright, and Lucis from New Bright does claim to learn lighting habits.
Like your behaviors, okay.
Well, but that's helpful, right? I've run into people who say, if you were really interested in saving power, you would just turn off your lights, right? But I know people who are very near and dear to me, who leave the lights on all hours of the day in rooms that they're not in, and still would be happy to save energy.
Now,
and the money by extension. So having those learning things there is helpful.
I kind of feel, I don't know how creepy this would be, but having a microphone
You're creepy.
integrated into lights would enable it to know if you're watching a movie or like something like a TV show to turn down your lights because you're doing that. And you could like set, hey, if I'm watching a movie, turn off my lights or turn them down. And different things like that. Or if it's completely silent after, well, if you're alone, that won't work. But if you're, I don't know.
Tim, first of all,
Yeah.
that's creepy. Second of all,
I mean, it'd be brilliant. That'd be the best way to learn different behaviors.
you've
right?
already got that in your home because I can see you have an Xbox.
I do. It doesn't
You've-
change my lights,
You've already enabled the thing to listen to you all the time.
but my lights aren't listening to.
Yet.
Not yet.
Yet.
I mean, that'd be cool.
Well, no. But
No,
you...
you'd be creeped out by that a little bit. Because I'm thinking it's an algorithm listening to me, not a person. Right.
Well, you say that,
Yeah.
but at some level, that's all creepy. Now, sure, you can say, well, this thing's listening, or at least it has the potential to listen.
So would the smarter thing
But-
be you integrate with Netflix and know if I'm watching Netflix and I don't know. Then it wouldn't be able to tell what room you're in if it's doing Netflix integration.
Well, that depends. Does everyone have their phone on them all the time? And if they do, then you just look for where the Bluetooth is coming from. It's coming from inside the house. Ah!
Yeah. There is a TV show that's integrating with Hue, I heard, right?
I don't know.
There's like a sci-fi show on the Sci-Fi Network that's going to integrate with the Hue bulbs as it's going to sync up to the show.
I only have the low-dollar Hue bulbs. I have the ones that are only white and don't change color. So
Oh, okay, you have the newer ones. Okay. I probably would end up with those, but I got them when they came out.
yeah.
Those are probably cheaper, right? Just the white bulbs. How much? The $20 a pop? What are
I
those?
don't remember.
Okay.
It's the affordable starter kit.
Okay. Cool. Any other home stuff or car stuff?
Well, so all of Pioneer's new models are Android Auto and CarPlay, and the old models will get that one last firmware update that we may have already gotten, and no more updates for them, so we're stuck.
Yeah.
The new Pioneer units get better screens and better touch, and basically are just, well, better. The Kenwood units are all right, although they have their own version of Kenwood World on them. The Alpine unit, still like that Alpine unit. It's got a button that's just clearly labeled Siri. A hardware
Yeah.
button, Siri.
Now, I did realize why I didn't care about a hardware button, because the home button, intersects with the two corners on the bottom, so I can tactily feel
It's not
the
good
bottom.
enough. It's not good
So I can
enough.
feel the bottom corner.
Yes,
pretty
but that's not
easily.
good enough.
Okay. Seemed to work, I don't know. I can feel it without looking. Anyways. Yeah.
Mostly because it's not responsive enough.
Oh, I see. Because you can hold the Siri button and know when you're holding it versus, yeah. That's a good point. Yeah,
Tactile matters.
That's fair.
The
Now, is Android Auto over wire as well, or is that Bluetooth?
I believe it's over wire.
Okay.
Wireless is kind of a pipe dream for two reasons. First of all, you're going to use a ton of power and drain your battery on your phone.
Yeah.
You're going to wish you'd plugged in. So why not just plug in?
For, like, quick 10-minute trips, wireless, like, it's all about duration, right? Quick trips, just like want to jump in your car and go and not worry about plugging in. Anything longer than that, you know. I don't know.
Yeah, just plug in.
Yeah.
The other thing is the sound quality. And you'll say that there's no discernible difference, but there is a discernible difference. And in CarPlay, all the audio routes over Lightning.
Right. Which we now have Philips headphones for that as well.
I saw those.
Were those pretty decent sounding? Or?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're in a
You can't
tent.
really
How can you
tell
really?
at
What
CES.
are you doing?
You're at CES. How can you
They
tell?
played music.
Yeah.
They have a volume control on the side of the left ear cup.
Mm-hmm.
It functions. There was nothing to do other than plug in the Lightning cable and use the volume control, and they played music. and they have their own digital audio converter inside the headphones, powered by the iPhone. So no one's really sure what the battery drain is going to be.
On the iPhone, yeah.
Right? But they were pretty slick.
Okay. Seems solid.
You
You
know,
don't want that. If that lightning cable goes bad in that headphone, that's kind of toast at that point.
Pull your cables out by the plastic overmold. Don't pull them out by the cable.
Yeah.
Come on. They're $300 headphones. Have care.
I agree.
Now, that's an interesting question, though. They're $300 headphones. You're going to spend $300 on headphones that only work with your iOS devices,
Yeah.
not your Mac.
Yeah. There's crazy people like that. No iPods either.
iPod Touch.
That's not an iPod. Come on. That was wrong name.
iPod Nano.
Oh, those are lightning, aren't they? Yeah.
Aha!
The Nano, I'll give you that. I'd buy those for the Nano. Here you go. Yeah.
Right.
Anyways,
Well,
any other CS stuff before we wrap up?
no, I mean, glass cases, tons of 3D printers, tons of other stuff.
Lots of TVs there.
Lots of TVs, curved TVs, 4K TVs, 8K TVs.
No 3D 4K though.
Do you want 3D? Do you
I've never
really?
owned a 3D TV, so I don't know.
I've never owned a 3D TV either. I wouldn't know what to
Yeah.
do with one or why.
I have one Blu-ray that has 3D in it, so I'd watch
Do you
that.
really?
Yeah.
You have a Blu-ray that's 3D?
Well, it came with the other fancy stuff. You had to get it that way.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd want one like that or not. It seems like it'd be something.
Are you putting on all your watches?
I'm putting on an array of watches. It's getting kind of hard, actually.
Yeah. I don't know who would actually do that, but people do, I guess.
There's your shot.
There you go.
That's pretty cool, actually, isn't it?
It's a lot of watches.
It's the Gauntlet.
Yeah. I joked I'm growing up a little watch. I got 2 watches now, and then I'll have 3 with the Apple Watch. And I'm debating getting the $450 Activate, but I think I'm good with this one. Like, that's a lot of money.
It's not Activate.
Activité.
Activité.
Yeah, I'm
It's-
not a French dude.
Es French, en français.
Yeah. Yeah.
You must do it correctly.
Evidently.
Activité.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would like one of those. I need to
Yeah.
ask them and see if there's a possibility of reviewing something like that or checking it
Yeah.
out. But very cool.
So
You need
yeah.
you need to measure what the lug difference is on what the lug width is on that guy. Get out your calipers and
I don't have calipers.
why not?
I just
Sir, what kind of
never
scientist
had
are
a need
you?
for it. I think my work probably has some.
So the Meta Watch is, except for the adjustable lug style, but the traditional Meta Watch was a 22 millimeter band.
Yeah.
20, 22, 24 are kind of standard sizes.
This is 18, I think, millimeter band.
18 is also kind of standard, although it's typical for a much smaller watch.
Yeah. I think they designed this to be very unisex
Yeah.
as far as size.
So, I would consider getting an aftermarket steel bracelet for that.
Yeah. Because steel makes it look bigger or something, or what?
Just it's a different type of feel. You don't have to worry about leather getting icky when you should you happen to perspire.
Yeah. In winter, it doesn't matter as much.
No.
No.
But leather and plastic bands get icky after about a year.
Yeah.
A steel bracelet, you take out a toothbrush and some hot water, and it cleans right up.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to see what material this band is.
It's called polyurethane.
Okay. Pretty fancy stuff.
Well, it's not silicone rubber.
Actually, wait.
Silicone has a very
smooth silicone watch strap is what this.
Okay. Well, silicone has a very specific feel to it.
It feels good.
It's a soft. It's kind of a cool feel.
Yep. That's a good description.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. Yeah. Anyways, Victor, where can folks find you on the interwebs and your writings? And
At VMarks at Twitter, and I write for Apple Insider and occasionally contribute to the fantastic ablogtowatch.com.
Very cool. Well, thank you for your time today. It's been fantastic, and having you on in the future. I'm sure when the Apple Watch comes out,
We'll talk again next month.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good.
Cool.
Bye.
Cheers.